What's going on, everybody? Welcome to SNUG Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be going over Friday Night SmackDown today. They had a couple title changes on this episode of SmackDown. Three title matches were announced ahead of time. Um, it was SmackDown was a couple days ago, right? And even though there was a lot of good stuff that happened here, like the stuff that we saw with CM Punk and Kevin Owens was really good, but I had higher hopes for this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. We'll be talking about the results, what came out of this, and all the good and even the bad stuff that we saw on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And to help me, Mr. Blood and Tommy are here. Welcome, fellas. Y'all ready to go over this episode of SmackDown tonight?
Yeah, I'm ready to go over it. I'm in the same boat as you, man. I thought SmackDown was pretty light for a supposedly stacked show. I didn't feel like there was much substance on the show. In fact, I'd argue um, a good majority of the important and big stuff, including some of the title stuff and some of the big segments, felt like repeat stuff, like stuff that we've seen so many times before. I got deja vu in the Owens Punk segment we'll get into. I got deja vu in the, I feel like we have that same finish, that same type of finish with Corbin and Hayes all the time. The Cody and Randy segment, we saw that before Mania. Like, I feel like we've done a lot of this before. And for a show that's really going to have around 58 minutes of wrestling, if not less, and an hour of advert and commercial, I was hoping for more wrestling originality on my wrestling show, but we'll get into it.
I do get that. Like, overall, the show, I'm kind of in the same boat with you guys on it, because my problem is the majority of these storylines we have already seen. So that's the only problem. Like Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, in which we'll get to, that's literally just the lead up to Mania without the title.
Yeah,
Tommy,
and also,
Tommy, go out and come back in, please.
Tommy and I, we cover NXT every week, bro. And some people like NXT, some people don't. Some people say NXT sucks. But this week, NXT was the better show from both Raw and SmackDown. So after watching this week's episode of NXT, I was like, man, I hope they step it up on Friday. I hope we get a better show from SmackDown because SmackDown has all the stars. SmackDown had Gunther, Kevin Owens, Cody, a lot of star power on SmackDown, but the energy just wasn't there. They had the stars, but not the energy. But with that being said, we're going to go into what really happened on SmackDown. Are you guys ready? Anything else you guys want to add before we get into it?
Nope, let's do it.
So they started off with Nick Aldis was in the middle of the ring, and Nick Aldis made his decision when it comes to the recently injured women's interim champion, Chelsea Green. And I'm like, ah, shit, here we go. Oh my God, they're going to strip Chelsea Green from the title. Like, I was like, man, I was so worried. I was starting to get upset. Nick Aldis doesn't look happy. He's, the things that he's saying, he's just like, as a general manager, this is part of my job. These are the I have to make the tough choices like this. And I'm like, oh, bro, they're going to take the fucking title away from Chelsea. That's fucking insane, right? So here comes Chelsea. She's rocking a fucking nice shiner on her face. And they played the video package of when she got hurt. And apparently it was the moment where JC Jane, who wasn't even in the tag team match, she gets involved in the match and hits Chelsea Green with the cheap shot. Let me look at this picture really quick because on Chelsea Green, the injury is on her right side, the right socket. In that video, I'm pretty sure Chelsea Green hit the left side of her face. So I find it hard to believe that that's what really caused the injury, but they're giving the heat on JC Jane. They're putting it on her because that's when they played that video package. But whatever, we can look into that more. But I'm pretty sure it was the wrong side. She's rocking a nasty black eye, and Chelsea Green comes out and she's like, "Nope, I'm not gonna let you take this belt away from me. I've done so much for it. I've worked so hard for this. Everything always happens to me," and this is true. This is all true. Whenever something good happens to Chelsea Green, something bad comes along right after. And, they played with the people's emotions, and you really feel bad for Chelsea Green. You want her to keep her title. And it worked. Chelsea Green convinced Nick Aldis to let her keep her title under one condition. Nick Aldis has given Chelsea Green 30 days to get better, to heal up, so she can start defending her interim title. Chelsea Green agreed, and Chelsea Green got to keep her title. So let's start with that, because there's a lot more things happening here with Chelsea Green after this. But what did you guys think of how this went down on SmackDown?
I thought the entire first half of this opening segment that leads into the first impromptu match, I thought this was a slam dunk. I thought this was very well executed. You played with the fans' emotions. The fans gave you every bit of it. They bought into it. But, I don't even know if we can still call Chelsea Green an interim champion. We know that Rhea's supposed to be out for like 6 or so months. So I'm not even calling Chelsea Green the interim champion anymore. She's just straight up the SmackDown Women's Champion. Chelsea also cut a very impassioned promo, a very fiery promo. She made a lot of good points, telling Nick Aldis, like, hey, your son and your wife, a legend and Mickie James, were in this ring celebrating a once-in-a-lifetime moment that you finally got to have. You got to have that, but now you want to take my once-in-a-lifetime moment away from me. Like, that's not right. And I like that Chelsea was like, I expected better from you, Nick. And she walked up the ramp and he's like, hey, look, you're right. And she comes back and lets her keep the title. I thought this was done really, really well, because the truth of the matter is, if we're going to let Jade Cargill and, Liv Morgan go 100 days apiece on 2 separate brands without defending a championship, I still think it's bullshit that Chelsea's got 30 days. Like what? I thank you, Nick, and everything, but what happened to the other 70 that the other 2 got? I feel like I've seen a lot of fans also hate on that too. Like, hey, you gave her a 30-day reprieve, but the other champs got like 3 months and like a week and a half. I'm happy Chelsea got to keep it. I think it's well-deserved. The fans are behind her. I think they've got fire on their hands here, man, and I hope they execute this properly.
Yeah, overall, it's just that. It's Chelsea. Chelsea Green is a absolute star that they have on their hands. So there is that. I was a little bit terrified at first, but it's Chelsea. That's the thing.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Gunther shows up and interrupts Chelsea Green, and I'm like, oh shit, this can't be good. So Chelsea Green was having a really busy night, She was dealing with Nick Aldis, and now she has to deal with Gunther. Gunther comes out here, and basically he's like, I don't care what's happening here. I want to know why you screwed me, Nick Aldis. Why you added Kevin Owens to my number 1 contenders match, right? And Nick is like, wait a minute, I'm dealing with the women's champion right now, Gunther. But Gunther, being Gunther, he's a classic heel. He starts talking shit to Chelsea Green, and I'm like, oh shit, this is not gonna end well, But Chelsea Green, she fires back the way that Chelsea Green knows how to fire back, and she didn't get intimidated by Gunther. And while this was happening, I was thinking, where's Matt Cardona? Is he going to come out right now? That would be great if we see Matt Cardona step up to Gunther, and he did. Matt Cardona shows up, makes perfect sense. That's his wife. Everyone knows Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona are married. And I'm like, yes, this is perfect. Matt Cardona's going to get in a big star's face like Gunther. And he does. And freaking Matt Cardona does not He's no pushover, man. He goes after Gunther after disrespecting his wife. We get a little brawl, and this is what sets up the match between Gunther and Matt Cardona.
Yeah, no, I thought it was again the first half of the segment I thought was really strong. I did think this second half was a little weak. I like that Chelsea stood up for herself. I like that she, clowned Gunther and was like, hey, there's only one champion in this ring, baby. When you're looking at her. And I like that Gunther also was like, let's not go there. Like, let's not, he's talking trash to Chelsea. And Matt comes out. And I like the WWE, acknowledges the continuity and their relationship is like, oh, this is his wife. They're on the same brand. Matt's no slouch, nor is he a pushover. Matt's a veteran in the business, 20 plus years at this point. But this is also Gunther. I thought that Matt attacking Gunther looked a little softer than I would have liked to have seen. Like, I know it's kayfabe and everything, but like, you're talking shit about my wife. He comes out and the first thing he does is like start hitting him, but he's just openly, like clearly I see him hitting him on the shoulders and stuff. I'm like, dude, punch him closer to the face. Like he's shit talking your wife. Make these punches look a little bit more, snug. And I thought it was because you see like Sammy come out later in the show, and we'll talk about that. But when he gets his hands on Punk, he just rips into him. But when it comes down to it, like, this sets up the impromptu match, that's fine and everything. If we're talking about the match, I'm just going to go ahead and say it now, but I thought the match was very unnecessary. If we were just going to, impromptu is great, but I feel like Matt should have won here. And I don't mean he should have decisively beaten Gunther. I don't think it should have been like this, but it could have been an upset. Like the low blow works behind the ref's back. The Rough Rider works. Gunther's too busy clutching his fucking balls and can't kick out. I feel like that's a great upset. Or he hits him with a Rough Rider, then rolls him up, and then you see him cheat and get his feet on the ropes. Like something like that, Like, because you just shit talk my wife. I ain't playing by the rules, bro. And you just proved that by low blowing Gunther. So take it a step further, roll his ass up, and then put your feet on the ropes and have Chelsea hold your feet. I think giving Matt the win here would have done so much more for Matt, but it would have really, really put the fire and I feel like the edge on Cardona specifically, but really would have helped Chelsea in this segment on a high note where she starts out with this great rise in energy and then she has to just sit back and watch her husband lose after he was trying to defend her honor, and that goes nowhere. And that kind of felt a little flat to me.
Overall, the match itself was pretty damn good at that point, in my opinion, on it, because it was a surprise here, although it kind of was no surprise to me that Gunther won, because Gunther is an absolute powerhouse. So there is that. But I love the fact that later on in the show, Gunther was pissed they had to wrestle in street clothes.
Yeah, I like this match a whole lot too, man. The fact that these two guys were not they didn't have their wrestling gear on, so this felt like a fight. It didn't feel like a wrestling match. This felt like, hey, you disrespected me and I want to beat you up. I thought that was really cool. I love the fact that we got to see Matt Cardona versus Gunther, even if it was for a little bit. Yeah, of course you want to see Matt Cardona win, right? That's just natural. The guy was defending his wife versus a big foreign heel like Gunther. So yeah, I was going for Matt Cardona all the way. I wasn't expecting him to win at all, but I'm just glad that we got to see it, and the other thing too, Chelsea Green, I felt like this entire SmackDown was built around her because she wasn't getting physical. She got in the ring with Nick Aldis. She had a segment with Nick Aldis, and then she had a segment with Gunther. And it doesn't stop there because Lash Legend, is this when after the match between Matt Cardona and Gunther, Lash Legend and Nia Jax, I'm pretty sure came out and they confronted Chelsea Green, and I'm just like, God damn, bro, like everyone, Chelsea Green is having a busy ass night. She's having all these confrontations with all these people. Everyone's coming after Chelsea Green, and we also see Chelsea Green later on too in the Women's United States Championship match. So Chelsea Green was all over this place on SmackDown, and that was great because she is the women's champion. She's a big deal on this show, and I felt like they were treating her like that, and very deserving.
I did want to highlight something too, like the video package that they played where they tried to give JC Jane the heat for the orbital injury, the orbital socket injury that Chelsea sustained. And it's very clear that they're giving the heat to JC because they want to keep it off whomever it actually was on. Because there's obviously there's kayfabe. They've already seen the online backlash, probably everybody just automatically assuming and stating, oh, it was definitely Nia Jax. Nia Jax strikes again. Nia Jax injures someone again. And it's like, dude, even if it is true, and there is, I don't think that anybody's been able to fully point it out, whether it's not. So I'm not going to blame Nia myself. Like Chelsea said, last week on her post, this is a contact sport. This is a work hazard, like byproduct. This comes with the territory of being a wrestler. And she's not crying over spilled milk, man. Like, so to sit there and just look for the real culprit and shit on someone when it could have easily been an accident. Like, we've seen Nia's public persona outside of WWE. She's a very fun, loving, kind person who's beloved by everybody backstage. Just follow her TikTok for Christ's sake. She's adored by people. She was not trying to hurt Chelsea intentionally, even if it might have been her. And I'm not saying it was. But I do think it was smart for them to take the negative and turn it into a positive and give that heat to the heels in the segment that are the new kids on the block, that and, JC Jane and her cohorts, and try to salvage this injury multiple ways, giving Chelsea the 30 days, putting the heat for the injury on the young and up and coming heel to really help get them a bit more solidified in the negative with the audience. But I thought that was important. But, everybody wants to keep throwing shade at Chelsea Green. And the thing about shades, sometimes you get some really shitty ones. I'm wearing some really shitty ones right now. And if you're tired of flimsy sunglasses that look the same as everyone else's, man, check out Aquila. These are handcrafted, limited run shades straight out of Los Angeles, made from 50% recycled materials like plant-based cellulose acetate and titanium. They've got UV blocking sun lenses, blue light options, and even prescription lenses, all built to last and look clean. Plus, Aquila's serious about sustainability. They're a member of the nonprofit organization 1% for the Planet, and that means 1% of every sale is donated to reputable environmental organizations around the globe. Because you listen to SNUG Wrestling, you get an exclusive 10% off any order with the code SNUG at checkout. Full transparency, when you use that code, we do earn a small commission, but it helps keep the show rolling and get you top-tier eyewear in return. So go to aquila.la, that's AKILA.LA, and level up your look responsibly by using the code SNUG, SNUG, at checkout.
Well, the first title match of the night that was announced a few days before SmackDown was Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes, United States champion. Baron Corbin is the current champion, and this match was set up last week after Carmelo Hayes attacked Baron Corbin in a backstage segment during an interview. They're in Boston, and that is Carmelo Hayes' hometown. So is the hometown hero Carmelo Hayes going to defeat the big nasty heel that nobody likes, Baron Corbin? And the answer was no. They had a good match. Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes, I thought they worked really well together, even though there's a major size difference, but it was a really enjoyable match. Baron Corbin defeated Carmelo Hayes clean with this finisher 1, 2, 3. From what I remember, I don't think there was any cheating here like Baron Corbin did versus Trick Williams. It was just a clean win. And then after the match, we saw Trick Williams come out and attack Baron Corbin. I expected Trick Williams to come out during the match which would cause a disqualification. It protects Carmelo Hayes, yada, yada, yada. But no, he waited until after the match, and Trick Williams and Little Yachty beat up Baron Corbin with the kendo stick. But yeah, we see Baron Corbin picking up another win, and now we got Trick Williams still coming after the United States champion.
Yeah, I thought the match was pretty solid, and no, like Baron Corbin, the heel, mind you, retained his championship clean. You don't see that too often in pro wrestling, especially on WWE TV. I like to attribute Carmelo Hayes to that of an AJ Styles type of wrestler. He's not like a full-blown pure high flyer, but he has a lot of AJ Styles energy to him. And the one thing I've always liked about Baron Corbin is his work, his in-ring work with the smaller, quote-unquote, guys. You know, 6 foot is considered small, or 5'10" or 11 is small. But I go back to like Baron Corbin in matches with like AJ Styles back in the day, Rey Mysterio, you know, all these guys, Dolph Ziggler, around that same Carmelo size, that all have similar styles. And Baron just always seems to have really good matches with these guys. And this was no different. It's always a treat to see him work with guys who are this quick, this agile, because you forget by looking at him, he's a former NFL player. Like, legitimately, like Corbin himself is extremely massive for a human being, but he's extremely agile. Especially at his upper years, he's still moving like he did 10 years ago. I will say the one thing I didn't like about the match was the wind into the finish. I wasn't a fan of no selling 2 first 48s in a row and then standing up within 6 seconds to knock Carmelo off the top turnbuckle into the barricade. I would have definitely thought they would have had Corbin stay down longer, or Corbin, being the vet, would have known to stay down a little bit longer, sell it, you know, but they probably were, closing in on time, and that's fine. But yeah, he won clean. Obviously Trick afterwards with, Lil Yachty with the kendo distraction and everything. I like that they had Corbin basically only sell like the initial impact, but not crumble under the kendo. And the first, and then you have Trick comes in, hits the trick shot, and stands tall. This is definitely going to be a triple threat match at the next PLE. I can smell it. Most likely Saturday night's main event coming up. But I would have preferred, like you, and I think we predicted this last week, a week in advance, I would have preferred Trick Williams interfering, so this turned into a triple threat that way without having Carmelo having to eat the loss.
Yeah, it is very, very weird with that, because I completely agree that I honestly thought that it was going to end up being a triple threat like that, but that is not how it went, unfortunately. But overall, the match was decent. I did expect the interference. There was none. But of course, Lil Yachty thinking that he has a chance with a damn kendo stick against Baron Corbin. Like, I found that a little bit funny on that portion. But other than that, there wasn't really much to that.
And then my favorite part of this entire episode of Friday Night SmackDown was the face-to-face between Kevin Owens and CM Punk. We saw a little bit of this last week. And this week I was thinking, okay, is it going to get good? Are they going to get personal? Are they going to bring up the real shit that we all know behind closed doors? And the answer is yes. Kevin Owens comes out, and immediately so does CM Punk, before even Kevin Owens can get a word in. And yeah, man, they really get into the dirty laundry. They air out their dirty laundry from 20 years ago. Okay. CM Punk tells Kevin Owens, you want to educate the people on what happened 20 years ago. Okay, go ahead, Kevin. And Kevin Owens tells everyone kind of his side of the story of what we all know. The way that CM Punk treated Kevin Owens when they were in Ring of Honor was not the best thing. You know, Kevin Owens never really liked CM Punk. And, yeah, Kevin Owens said a bunch of shit. He even brought up the Elite. He's like, yeah, you disrespected some of my friends, some of my close friends. And CM Punk fired back and he was like, yeah, your friends, they don't really like me. And then Kevin Owens says, well, it's not just those three, talking about the Bucks and Kenny Omega, without actually saying their names, but we all know what Kevin Owens was talking about. It's everyone else. So they said a bunch of crazy shit to each other that I don't think this shit would slide in a Vince McMahon era. They said a lot of like behind closed doors type shit, behind the curtain type shit, which I thought was really good. Even the fact that CM Punk would body shame Kevin Owens, they brought that up too. This was just, I mean, from the beginning, CM Punk and Kevin Owens, the history, this tension, you can just, again, look at Kevin's face. His face tells it all. He looks disgusted, Kevin Owens, every time he has to look at CM Punk. But basically, Kevin Owens says, hey, Punk, I've been waiting for 20 years to punch you in the face, but I didn't do it because I know you would ruin my career. But this time, I'm going to wait 7 more days, and I get to do it for the WWE Undisputed title. You always thought you were better than me, but I'm the same guy, and this same guy is going to be standing in front of you next week in the middle of the ring for that championship belt. So things are definitely getting interesting between Kevin Owens and CM Punk, and I can't wait for their match next week.
All right, this is going to be one for the clips, and don't edit any of it. Keep it as is.
Nah, I'm editing.
Like, legitimately speaking, what is this, 2021? I liked this feud up until I realized they're just doing their version of Punk versus Eddie Kingston from AEW. Like, legitimately, there are videos out right now where people did full comparisons. And by the way, I'm not even blaming Punk for this. Almost the majority of Kevin Owens' entire fucking promo was like paraphrased homework of Eddie Kingston's promo. Even telling him his breath smelled bad and telling him, look at me when I'm talking to you. Down to those 2 lines from Eddie Kingston's promo 5 years ago. I'm sorry. Like, and I'm with Punk on this. I love Kevin. I love Kevin Owens, but Punk's my GOAT. And I'm going to call it like I see it. Kevin's proud of being the same guy he was 20 years ago. Look, that makes no sense to me as just a man, because even Triple H has said it. Like, Punk coming back to WWE never would have worked if he was the same guy he was 10 years ago. And even straight up said, if you're the same guy you were 10 years ago or the same person you were 10 years ago, then you wasted the last 10 years. Because Punk's right. You should be trying to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. That's what healthy adult mature thinking is. Growth. And Kevin mocked Punk's growth. And I'm like, he is different. 90% of the locker room thinks he's different. They love him so much. They want him in TikToks. They want him helping out at NXT. Shawn Michaels loves him. Him and Triple H are buddies. Cody loves him. Gunther fucking loves him. We've seen that on Unreal. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, Kevin. Like, it seems to me that you are stuck in the past, as Punk mentioned, like 20 years and you're mad about the same thing. Like, dude, you're shitting on Punk, but he's rent-free in your head, bro. I seriously doubt Punk thinks that often about the locker room 20 years ago as to why he's a problem with you. It was his locker room. You came in, you were disrespectful, because we've heard these stories before. You were dressed like an asshole. You were shooting your mouth off. And then he checked you and then went off on you for being disrespectful, which, by the way, people have done way worse in WWE's locker rooms in the past for way less. Like, oh, Miz eating chicken and a couple of crumbs accidentally spilled into someone's bag and he gets kicked out of the locker room for 9 months and has to change in the hallway. Like it's like, this is how it goes with old school wrestlers, bro. There's a respect factor in the business. You disrespected the people in that company on your first night there, and the vets checked you at the door. And that's their fault. You were kind of the asshole originally. And then when he came backstage to Punk, he tells Punk, is that better? Are you happy now? And he said, and he claims that I said it in jest. I've never had anybody, when I asked them to do something better, come back to me and ask me, am I happy now? That has never been a way to say that you're joking with someone you already pissed off. No, Kevin, just admit it. You were being an asshole. He checked you, and you got mad that he checked you because he checked you in front of people. That's what it is. He's not the asshole. You just don't know how to let things go.
What I love overall is that Punk brought up Kevin's loss to Goldberg for the Universal title. And then Kevin decided to bring up Punk's loss to Roman. So clearly here, they're bringing up the past, other than their 20-year past in itself. But here we are. We've got Kevin versus Punk. We'll see how this goes. I'm actually pretty interested to see how this is going to lead.
Yeah, and this is why this feud is so great, because you're right, Mr. Blood. Like, I hear what you're saying, right? I'm a Punk fan. Like, when the whole thing that happened with like CM Punk and AEW, I can see where Punk is coming from, right? It was a shitty situation, but I'm a Punk fan all the way, right? The thing with Eddie Kingston with the feud, I mean, I was watching AEW at the time, but I forgot about it. Like, I couldn't even tell you who even won that feud because it was like, whatever. You know, now they're comparing it.
Punk won.
Well, I couldn't even tell you because it was like, yeah, okay. But yeah, they're comparing this feud with Kevin Owens and CM Punk with CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. Okay. To me, in my opinion, what they're doing with CM Punk and Kevin Owens, the way that they're doing it, it just means more because it's more believable. But that's just me. Point is, I can see both sides of the story. And again, this is WWE storytelling where it's not just classic babyface and heel. Yes, CM Punk has some good points. Hey, you're still the same guy from 20 years ago. That's kind of weird, bro. Like, you're telling me 20 years you're still the same guy, you haven't grown? I get that, right? But also, Kevin Owens is also right. So it divides the crowd. Like, okay, whose side are you on? Because I can also get behind Kevin Owens because he's like, hey, I've made it this far on my own, being me, not worried about what people like you think about me. And I'm successful. I've made it a name for myself, even though I look this way, even though, you know, you think I'm not trying to better myself.
Okay,
Hey,
but does
I
Kevin
got it.
want
I
a
made
cookie?
it.
Does Kevin want a cookie is my point. Like, that's Punk's whole thing. And Punk did it first. Punk literally made a career off of being different and not caring what anybody had to think or say about him. Paul Heyman had to protect his career in ECW from getting fired. And they wanted to fire him from OVW because they didn't like he was covered in tattoos, had long greasy hair, had piercings in his face. Like, Kevin, do you want to cook? Like, Punk is like, you're just proving Punk's point. You're saying I didn't want to be anything like you. You're a carbon copy. Like, you dress the way you want. You're covered in tattoos. You have a chip on your shoulder with a smart ass fucking attitude. You think you're the smartest guy in the room. You're a quick talker, great on the mind. Like, everything about that Kevin Owens is defending about himself, that he is what, and he is shitting on Punk for. I'm like, everything that you are, Kevin, is only allowed in the WWE because Punk made it cool. Punk made it popular. Punk's right. They would never have let guys like Kevin in had Punk not proved to be a success. And all the shit that Kevin's done in the 13 years he's been in the Fed, Punk did fucking 95% of that shit, and 2 times over, by the way, in his first 5 years on the main roster. 2-time Money in the Bank winner, 2-time world fucking champion, all in the first fucking 5 years. He had a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania for the streak. You can have your exhibition with Stone Cold. Whoa. Like, I mean, come on. He did it when Undertaker was was still active. Like,
Right.
I don't
But that's
get
still
where
that
Kevin's
that's
trying to pontificate here.
But that still doesn't take away anything that Kevin Owens has accomplished in
no,
his
it
career.
doesn't. It doesn't at all.
You
But to
shouldn't
sit
be
there and
comparing yourself to other people. You should be focused on yourself, and that's what Kevin Owens has been doing.
And that's
I
what
think
he
that's
hasn't
what.
been.
Hold on, let me speak.
Because he shit all
Let me
over
speak.
Punk saying.
Can I speak?
Did
I let you
comparing
speak.
himself to
I let
Punk.
you speak. I let you speak. Now let me speak. Kevin Owens, in his mind, he's also right. Both of these guys, in their own minds, they're right. But I can understand. Kevin Owens is basically telling CM Punk, "Hey, you were wrong about me," and that's happened before. A lot of people, not just CM Punk, were coming after Kevin Owens in that time of Ring of Honor, telling him, "Hey, you're not gonna make it if you keep doing what you're doing." And look, he made it. What do you know? So it's like, I can see both sides of the story. Who's right and who's wrong, I don't fucking care. I'm here for the ride. Like I said, I'm a Punk fan. I'm not saying I'm all about growth, but also I'm all about making your dreams come true by being you, your way, being unique. I can also get behind that. That's all I'm saying.
And I agree with you, but at the same time, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Nakamura, all these guys have probably no chance in hell, and yes, that's a pun for a reason, of making it to WWE under the Vince McMahon banner unless they had seen the proof in the pudding that Punk worked first. He was the most beloved star for 3 years straight, one of the highest merch sellers in the company. They hated him so much at first, and they realized, damn, he really, really, really actually has a connection, and the people love him so much. Let's put a World Heavyweight Championship on him. Let's put the WWE Championship on him. Let's have him win back-to-back fucking Money in the Banks. Let's have him feud with Randy Orton and John Cena and The Undertaker and Triple H and all these other people and Chris Jericho. In his first 4 years on the main roster, it is because of the successes like Punk that people like Daniel Bryan had a chance to get over in the first place, which led to the success of the second iteration of Black and Gold NXT, where these guys came from. The guys who hate Punk, like Sami Zayn, like Kevin Owens. That only worked because Triple H had a hard-on for indie wrestlers when they saw just how well indie wrestlers worked when you look at Punk and when you looked at Daniel Bryan. And you saw, oh, wait, I think we're on to something here. But no chance in hell would that have ever happened in Vince McMahon's WWE had Vince not had proof of concept with Punk. Punk was the first of his kind in the PG era.
I have a question for you, Blood.
Sure.
Did CM Punk wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No, but he wrestled freaking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
No,
he
I'm
wrestled
asking
The
about
Undertaker.
I'm asking about Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What does it matter if he wrestled Stone Cold? Stone Cold retired Stone Cold, who had to be protected most of that match by Kevin leading the match. Stone Cold, who was way out of his prime, Stone Cold?
No, because everyone has different goals. Like, yes, just because CM Punk did all these great things, he accomplished all these things, that doesn't mean that Kevin Owens has to do those same things to be just as good.
No, but he did, and he tried. So, and that's my point. He tried because the road was paved. He may not like Punk, but here's the thing. Kevin Owens doesn't like Punk. And the ironic thing is they have so much more in common than they have not. And that's what I think. It's funny that Kevin hates Punk, but homie, you guys are cut from the same cloth. Independent, brash, loudmouth, cut and fly by the seat of your pants, sarcastic, tattooed indie guys that nobody believed in.
Yeah.
But how is Punk more of the villain in that regard if Kevin comes from the exact same well of water? And that's my point.
He's not the villain. I don't think either of these guys are the villains because they both have great points. And I think that's what makes the story so great. It's not just black and white.
But it's also the fact that another reason I lost a little bit of interest here is Kevin is saying nothing new. Almost every feud that Punk's had since he's come back to wrestling in 2021 has been the same thing. Hey, you were mean to me 20 years ago. I never got over it. Hey, people, my friends say you're an asshole, so I hate you because my friends say they hate you. Hey, you say this and you say that, but you left and you ran away. Hey, you left and you ran away. Hey, you left and you ran away. And it's like, is there any new material?
Yeah. CM Punk called him a fat piece of shit or something like that, or a fat ass, which I thought was fucking crazy.
Which is funny because when Punk got here, like Kevin's acting like Punk was body shaming him. Cody famously on his podcast said, "We're wrestlers. We wrestle half naked. Yes, body shame us. You're 100% allowed to body shame us. Please, you need to." And like literally, and Punk literally, like when he got here, he was called skinny fat. And people are like, you wasn't. There's a literal promo when he was feuding with Triple H back in the day where Triple H said, "I will kick your skinny fat ass." A nod to the insults they were giving Punk backstage because they didn't like his look or his body type. So even when Punk came from the indies, he got to the Fed and he was still being shit on by people who were now his peers. So and that's paying a part of paying your dues, man. So why on earth is Kevin allowed to be more virtuous when Punk dealt with way worse than Kevin did? Because he had a much longer career.
Yeah, I've heard all the stories like from people that were working in Ring of Honor that were saying that Kevin Owens just always had like a bad attitude. But again, that's just stories, from people that knew him back in the day. But it's still crazy, man. Even after all of that, Kevin Owens still made it this far. So yeah, man, this story, this is why I think this story's so good, man, because it divides the fans, bro. Are you Team Punk, Team Kevin Owens? And it's going to be a good match when these two get in the ring finally. It's going to be for undisputed title. It's going to be on a SmackDown, which I thought was really odd. I thought this match should deserve to be in a way bigger stage than SmackDown, but I just want to see it. I can't wait. It's going to be really good. Anything else when it comes to Punk and Kevin Owens? All right. The second title match of the night was a triple threat tag team championship match, the MFTs versus the War Raiders and the defending champions R-Truth and Damian Priest. Oh my God. Was this like a tornado tag team match or something? I don't think I saw a single tag made in this match. Like when the match started, the announcer said there's 3 teams, which means 3 guys are legal at the same time, 1 guy from each team. And throughout this whole entire match, all fucking 9 of these guys were just fighting each other all over the ring. Not one tag was done in this match. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But I was so confused. What's happening? Who am I following? Who are we supposed to be paying attention to? And it was just, I'm sorry, it was a goddamn mess. This match was crazy. Not in a good way. And we got new tag team champions. Mr. Blood, you were right about this one. The MFTs won. They just got a new manager, Haku. So how are you going to create this new version of the MFTs and not put them as tag team champions? That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I'll be 100% forthcoming here. I didn't see this match. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty sure I was cooking or doing something, more interesting. But when it came down to it, look, yeah, I was right to put in the MFTs. Big whoop. No one cares about the MFTs anyway. So, I mean, it's just putting it on a bunch, 2 guys that, are very talented and, have all the skills in the world. It's just WWE dropped the ball with them through that whole shit with Solo, where they could have had Tama over as fucking Rover. Instead of letting him go on a singles run, they threw him back into a team. And so they just, I really hate that WWE has this penchant for killing their own momentum, especially on certain things. Like Tama was getting over in the original draft of the MFTs. Then he goes away on injury. Then he comes back. They go, you know what? Instead of letting you have your individuality, we're going to have you all dress exactly the same, all wear the exact same face paint, and we're going to relegate you guys back to just henchmen that don't talk. And then they go, well, now we want Tama to have like problems with Solo and try to break off, and we're going to give you some personality again. And then we pay none of it off and just randomly fire half the group. And then Solo's on Raw, and we take the MFTs off TV for a couple of weeks, then we repackage them slightly, and then we re-debut them here with Haku. And it's just like, you had shit that you were building for a year, bro. Like, I don't care about the MFTs anymore because you told me that I shouldn't. It's just a shame. Look, R-Truth and Damian breaking up, hopefully losing these titles. That means I'm hoping that they can do the whole, old Judgment Day reunite, R-Truth, Finn Balor, Priest, but by no means do I want to see them drag Balor down into this undercard bullshit. I really want to see them just do it once, and after that it's over, and they move Damian back up to the main event, and just, like, we can do the fun thing to pop the crowd at like Saturday night's main event, but please just put Damian back in main event, and do not, and I'm begging you, don't drag Finn back down into the undercard when he was just on SummerSlam, the second biggest show of the year, in a contendership match for the world championship. Like, please don't. But that's all I got to say on that.
It's kind of obvious to me that Priest is absolutely going back up to the main stuff, going up against Punk here soon. I can see that happening. But we've got the MFTs as tag champs, and at this point, I just hope their reign is a whole lot better than their last one, because holy crap, their last reign was not good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with the MFTs, because now they're tag team champions and they have a new manager. So I'm getting a different feel from the MFTs, like the one that we had before, because now we don't have Solo in there either. So this is a brand new version of the MFT. So I'm hoping that with this new manager, with this new attitude, they get something interesting done. Now, we also have that announcement that Nakamura has been making that he's coming back, and he's not coming back alone. So Nakamura is going to have himself a tag team partner. I don't know who it is. I've seen the rumors, the speculation. Apparently some guy from New Japan. I don't fucking know. But yeah, we have that coming up as well. The MFTs are most likely going to be feuding with Nakamura and his mystery partner. So hopefully this thing with the MFTs gets a little bit more interesting. But speaking of making a team or a faction more interesting, the Fatal Influence are draped in gold, man. And I was really happy to see this, because WWE is trying to create stars. Fatal Influence just came in from NXT not that long ago. They're current women's tag team champions. And now JC Jane added gold from the main roster to their faction. JC Jane defeated Tiffany Stratton in the third title match of Friday Night SmackDown. And again, Chelsea Green was out here supporting her good friend Tiffany Stratton, who was a current champion at the time. Earlier in the show, Tiffany Stratton got attacked by the Fatal Influence, so she was kind of still selling the damages that was done to her earlier in the night. And the finish of the match came when Chelsea Green came out to help out her friend Tiffany Stratton. But Chelsea Green is injured. She can't get physical, right? The Fatal Influence surround Chelsea Green. Tiffany Stratton sees this happening, and instead of focusing on her match, she goes out to help her friend Chelsea Green. Tiffany gets distracted. JC Jane takes advantage, hits her finisher, pins Tiffany Stratton 1, 2, 3. So I'm wondering if that's going to piss off Tiffany Stratton, eventually lead to a turn. I don't know. But it's really looking like Tiffany lost the United States title to JC Jane thanks to Chelsea Green, unfortunately.
Oh God, I don't even know how to. I don't care. I don't care. In fact, the Fatal Influence, I'm so happy that WWE is actually, like, they're really trying to bolster this current class of NXT call-ups. I think that's the most positive thing I can say. The Obas, the Tricks, the the Lash Legends, these girls here, you know, like Tatum Paxley's already looking like she's on her way to becoming a fan favorite. Javon Evans, I don't want to leave too many people out here, but like you can feel that they are really, really trying to put in an effort with these NXT call-ups. And I'm glad that they are. I think JC Jane is easily the star out of the three of them. But when it comes down to it, I don't care about Tiffany Stratton. You guys know I have never liked her. I've never been a fan. I've never given a fuck about Tiffy time. I can't stand her. Her character, not her as a person, her character just grades in my patience. And I don't care. If they turn her back heel, hopefully they make her more interesting. But as a babyface, she's just fucking vanilla. And look, vanilla is my favorite flavor of ice cream. My favorite ice cream cone. You know Mr. Blood's favorite ice cream cone scoop? Vanilla old fashioned on a waffle cone with sprinkles. That's what I like. You know why? Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, she was better as a heel and it wasn't broke. So turning her babyface just because she was getting an over fucking catchphrase on the main roster didn't mean let's turn her fucking babyface. You can be heel with an over catchphrase. And she has been boring the entire time she has been a babyface. I mean, I'm hoping this results in her going heel, turning on Chelsea maybe in a month when Chelsea's healed up from the orbital injury. But then again, at the same time, I don't want to see them try to have Tiffany take the title off of Chelsea. I don't want to see that either. So for me, I'm just kind of like, whatever they do, I'm not going to care. But if it results in Chelsea getting the short end of the stick while they try to force Chelsea's goodwill with the audience onto Tiffany to make people give a shit again, I'm going to be pissed off.
Welcome to the female Shield at this point, because this has happened with the Shield with these exact titles. It was Roman and Seth holding the tag titles and Dean Ambrose holding the United States title. Look familiar? Because here we are, same titles, the female versions, all on Fatal Influence. There's that.
You would like fucking sprinkles on your ice cream, you freaking maniac. I thought you would be happy that Tiffany Stratton lost the U.S. title, man. I don't get you sometimes.
No, but it's the implications, because I can see into the future of the possibility of what WWE is going to do here. Tiffany drops the mid-card title now, so they use the mid-card title to bolster the credibility of these three girls, specifically JC Jane, who's clearly their favorite in the group. They're trying to turn her into a quick star come Mania season to give her a big moment. But if Tiffany is free of the mid-card division, they're going to thrust her back into the main title card division. And I don't want her up there, because who is the main champion holder on SmackDown? Chelsea. And they have always thought Tiffany was the bigger star. That's why they gave her so much and have given Chelsea so little for so long. And I'm afraid the whole reason they paired Chelsea and Tiffany up together was so they could siphon Tiffany's energy and love from the crowd that's organic and try to put it on Tiffany in a forceful way, so they can then go, well, if we just don't want Chelsea as champion anymore, since, you know, Rhea's going to be gone for 6 months, we could always put it on Tiffany. She's got a catchphrase that sells merchandise, and then they're going to have her drop it to Tiffany. And I don't want that. So
you have no faith in the homegirl, Chelsea Green.
I got faith in her. I just don't have faith in their booking around her.
Well, I, for one, would like to see Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton, because Chelsea Green's going to need some challengers, some competitors, and hopefully she gets some wins. But we'll see what happens with Tiffany Stratton and that whole situation. So we got, at this point, at this time during the show, the main event was supposed to be Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn with 5 minutes left on the show. And I'm like, what the hell are they going to do? Sami Zayn kind of complained to Nick Aldis and was like, hey, how come Cody Rhodes gets everything that he wants earlier in the show, right? Cody Rhodes just asked for a match with Randy Orton and you give it to him. But meanwhile, me, Nick, I got to do all these things just to get a freaking opportunity. What's up with that? So Cody gets annoyed. He tells Sammy, let's settle it in the ring. I'm tired of hearing you complain. Let's fight in the ring. And Nick Aldis says, yes, we can do that. And if you win, Sammy, tonight in the main event versus Cody Rhodes, then you will get the winner from Cody versus Randy. Sami Zayn was like kind of confused about it because he's like, oh, my hand's hurt. You're going to make me wrestle with a broken freaking hand? All right. So Sami Zayn is selling the hand. He goes into this match, or the match that we were supposed to have. And Randy Orton comes out of nowhere and just starts beating the crap out of Cody. And Cody and Randy fight for like the rest of the show, which was 5 minutes. Sami Zayn disappears. We get no main event match. And we go off air. Just like that. But one thing is for sure. Last week we talked about Randy and Cody, the things that they said to each other. Cody Rhodes making a comment about the worst version of himself. And I think we saw a little bit of that because Cody Rhodes was about to crack Randy Orton with the steel chair while Randy was laid out in the steel steps. Kind of a flashback to what Randy Orton did to Cody before WrestleMania. But when Cody was going to do it, the security guards and Nick Aldis stopped Cody, but Cody thought about it, and some people are saying, oh, we're starting to see heel Cody a little bit. But that was the final segment of this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. What do you guys think?
I thought it was absolutely horseshit. Here's the thing. If you don't want to give the fans a main event match, that's fine. Monday Night Raw is famous for giving us main event segments with the Bloodline. And the match happened 35 minutes ago, the last one before the show goes off the air. My problem is, at least on Raw, they tell you that Roman is ending the fucking show. They don't tell you there's a whole ass match to look forward to keep you to stick around, and then subvert expectations and then just role reverse an entire fucking ending angle that we saw 5 months ago, right before WrestleMania. You know what I didn't need to see? I didn't need to see Cody standing in for Randy Orton and Randy Orton standing in for Cody in the exact same fucking steel step spot with the steel chair on the announcer fucking table that I saw right before WrestleMania. Because literally, you told the fans they were getting a match. Now, if you want to have Randy interfere in the match, fine. If not, pace your show better. Okay? So you can actually give the fans something you just told them they were going to get. And I know cards subject to change, but at the same time, yeah, you told us we were getting a match. We sat around for another 25 minutes waiting on the match, and then the match never happens. And then you just wash, rinse, and repeat a segment from fucking this year. I know the whole thing where it's what's old is new again. Bitch, 4.5 months ain't old. So for me, it was just stupid. And the dumb thing, we can stop Randy Orton, we can stop Cody Rhodes from trying to cave Randy's skull in the exact same spot. We can yank the chair out of his hand. Where were you motherfuckers when Cody needed someone to yank the chair out of Randy's hand 4.5 months ago? So Randy can try to murk a guy, but when Cody does it, he's the bad guy. You take the chair from him, he don't get to get his comeuppance. Okay. Fucking bullshit, idiotic fucking ending to the show. I thought it was extremely stupid, a waste of everybody's time, and just a carbon copy of an angle that did work 4.5 months ago.
So here's my question overall. Like, yeah, sure, there's Randy. He comes out, he does all of the things. Go ahead. Then the whole switch with Cody. Okay. That's fine. But how the fuck did you end it like that? It's like you legitimately end the show with Cody Rhodes jumping back up onto the fucking announce desk, and that's how you go off. It legitimately was, and I was watching it with Soto. It was Cody jumps back onto the desk, grabs another chair. Like, are you kidding me? Now we have to trust what other people are showing us on what the hell happens after that. I hated that so fucking much.
Yeah, you guys are right. I did get that feeling watching this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Was a lot of the segments and a lot of the things ended so abruptly during the show that it kind of felt like they were kind of rushing through a lot of the things. And this final segment was another example of that. So yeah, it was a weird pacing of the show for sure. But yeah, that's how they ended SmackDown. They went off air when Cody and Randy were still fighting. I'm like, well, I want to see what happens, right? But I'm sure they'll probably tell us next week, oh, this is what happened off air. It seems like that's what they've been doing a lot lately. But yeah, other than that, that pretty much covers everything that went down on Friday Night SmackDown. Next week, I think that's one more. No, next week is going to be the big match between Kevin Owens and CM Punk. Let's do quick predictions on that really quick. I think I know what team, what side you're on, Mr. Blood, but let's hear it. Who you got?
It's CM Punk. It makes no sense to take it off him just to put it on Kevin. One, Kevin just got back, and two, CM Punk sells way more merch. He makes way more money. We're entering the final quarter of the calendar year for WWE ahead of their earnings calls. It doesn't make financial sense to put it on Kevin right now, especially when we're going towards Survivor Series, the lull period for WWE with, Saturday Night's Main Event. It just doesn't make sense to me to put it on Kevin. But then you also have to think that there's the story thread of, well, who else is lurking around pissed off? Sami Zayn. So I feel like he could interfere and fuck it up. And then that causes more of a separation between Kevin and Sami. Maybe Sami's trying to worm his way into a triple threat or something, by causing this. But I just don't see it. And I understand that people can be like, they can't have Kevin lose in his own hometown. Yes, they can. They just did it to Carmelo. Yes, they can. So I'm going to say CM Punk because he just makes the most sense business-wise, story-wise, financial-wise, but also you just moved him over to SmackDown. Why would you have him win the title to take over SmackDown and bolster those ratings if you weren't going to give it longer than the 3 weeks or month he's been back to do that?
I am also going with CM Punk because there's also this massive question that was left from SmackDown, which is what the fuck does this mean for Sami Zayn? Because the deal was if he beats Cody Rhodes, he will get the winner of CM Punk and Kevin Owens. But there was no match. So what does that mean for that deal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure we'll hear about that next week as well. Yeah, dude, I'm going with CM Punk too, man. Like, I like Kevin Owens, but this is not how I want to see Kevin Owens become champion again. If Kevin Owens were to win another championship again, because it kind of just seems like he kind of just showed up and just took the opportunity. He showed up. He got put in a number one contenders match. Yes, he won it, so technically he earned it. But what did he earn to be in that number one contenders match in the first place, right? Kind of like CM Punk got a lot of shit for the way that he won the title versus Sami Zayn. You did not hear the end of it. CM Punk didn't hear the end of it. Oh, he didn't deserve it. Oh, they just gave him an opportunity. Kevin Owens is doing the same thing. So
exactly. And I'd argue, well, Punk actually technically did earn it because he was the previous champion on Raw. And the way that I see it, he never got a rematch clause, even though they pick and choose when to use it. That was his rematch. Whereas Kevin 17, 18 months ago beat Sami Zayn in a match, and somehow 18 months later, as far as power rankings and all this other shit likes to work, somehow that puts him at the front of the line in the contendership match. So I'm like, at least Punk's feet, his shit's from 4 months ago, not 18.
Yeah.
But that being said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of SNUG Wrestling. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you for supporting the show as always. And you can catch us live every Monday night after Raw, every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific on our NXT post-show reviews. Then every Thursday at the exact same time on TikTok Live, where we discuss random and relevant wrestling topics and answer your fan questions on the show. And every Sunday at those same times for our SmackDown post-show reviews. And we do go live, by the way, on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and Kick for every live episode of SNUG Wrestling. And if you ever do miss us live, we have the entire video format of the podcast on our library on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify, the entire live library of all the episodes going back the last 3 years. Follow SNUG Wrestling everywhere on all social media, Apple and Spotify, and grab your wrestling merch at teepublic.com. That's teepublic.com/SNUG Wrestling. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug here with us on SNUG Wrestling.